Imagine being a convicted mass murderer, serving 4 consecutive life sentences for cold-blooded executions, yet still being granted conjugal visits. It sounds like some kind of twisted fantasy, but this is actual real life. Society deemed that you're too dangerous to walk free, yet you're getting up to 40 hours of private time with your spouse, behind closed doors, on prison grounds. It may feel like a slap to the face of justice, and the problem is with this time, and multiple times apparently, that privilege cost another life. And I'm not kidding, it wasn't even the first time. A different woman had been killed during a conjugal visit at the same exact prison just months earlier. You cannot make this stuff up. I'm sure you guys have been following the story. It's been all over the internet. David Brinson, a man so dangerous that even horror movie villains can take notes, was somehow allowed to host his wife, Stephanie Daniels, in one of California's few conjugal visit units. Despite his violent history, the state of California handed him a golden ticket along with his wife. And the problem is that she did not make it out alive.
We found out Wednesday morning, November 13th. We got the phone call that she was found passed out and they weren't able to resuscitate her.
Did they say anything about being passed out? Did they say she'd hit her head or that she appeared to have a seizure or anything else that was informative other than just passed out?
No. When David called, he called me. He said when he woke up to go to the restroom, he found her passed out. When he went to the restroom and came back, he found her passed out. But it's like, how did you not see her passed out before you went to the restroom? You know, I also asked, what time did she go to sleep? He gave me about 2-3 different times. Every time I asked him to repeat the story to me, he probably changed it about 4 to 5 times.
So let's rewind. Back in 1990, Brinson stormed into a LA apartment expecting to rob a drug dealer. But instead of finding piles of cash or drugs, he found 4 men watching basketball. Most people would just cut their losses and bounce, but this man decided to go full execution mode, made him lie face down, and he shot each one in the back of the head. 4 murders. One cold-blooded psychopath. Locked away for life without parole, Brinson somehow managed to woo Stephanie Daniels from behind bars. She saw a reformed man, a man seeking redemption. They even got married and had conjugal visits. What could possibly go wrong? Well, it turns out everything. On November 13, 2024, during one of these visits, Brinson made a phone call. His wife had passed out. Paramedics tried to revive her, but it was too late. At one point, they thought it was a natural thing, but they realized the cause of death was strangulation. The coroner confirmed it months later. In that time, the prison system tried to sweep this under the rug. 4 months of silence before admitting the truth.
Like, why did it take 4 months for them to finally come up with strangulation? I mean, 4 months seems an awfully long time to come up with something other than passed out, something as serious as strangulation.
I honestly think they were trying to sweep it under. You know, it was a little short after, we had help from a forensic person, and when he seen the body, he said there was evidence of abuse, so to do a private autopsy. So I really do think the prison was trying to go around it, and they found out that we were doing a private autopsy, and they just decided to tell us.
A mass murderer did what most mass murderers do: kill again. And the question that got everyone's blood boiling: why in the world was a man with 4 murder convictions allowed private, unsupervised time with his wife? Are we just handing out conjugal visits to every serial killer right now? California's got a lot of explaining to do. And the sad part is not just Brinson. Earlier in the same year, another woman, Tanya Thomas, was killed during a conjugal visit at the exact same prison. I'm not making this up.
Another woman was also murdered during a visit with her husband at the same prison a few months before that. Both deadly incidents taking place at the Mule Creek State Prison.
Tanya Vanessa Corpus Thomas, she was 47 years old.
The Amador County District Attorney tells KCRA3 Investigates Thomas's husband, 48-year-old Anthony Curry, is charged with her murder.
Oh, it hit my gut.
He's accused of strangling Thomas during a conjugal visit at Mule Creek State Prison.
I'm not against conjugal visits. However, there's already 2 murders at Mule Creek. What can be done to prevent this from happening again? Maybe put more prison guards out to do more safety checks, anything to save another life.
Anthony Curry, a man serving life for attempted murder and carjacking with a firearm enhancements, stemming from a brutal 1999 incident where he shot his then 19-year-old girlfriend in the back of the head, leaving her permanently blind and partially paralyzed, who allegedly killed his partner. 2 women dead, both lured to their deaths through a system meant to foster family connections. What's even more messed up is that David Brinson had attempted to delete himself just months before strangling his wife. Yet somehow the state decided, sure, let's just give this dude some quality time with his spouse. Clearly, we're not doing background checks on common sense anymore. This is the system that's supposed to keep us safe, the one that's supposed to draw the hard line between justice and privilege. Yet when you hand out conjugal visits to a man that executed 4 people in cold blood, you're practically begging for a disaster. Maybe it's time to rethink what qualifies as good behavior when it comes to giving violent killers private time with their loved ones. We are playing with fire here and pretending that it's just going to be another day in the office. Mule Creek State Prison has shown us how reckless and dangerous a flawed system can be. The tragedy here isn't just about 1 or 2 lives lost, but it's about a complete breakdown of accountability and common sense in our justice system. This isn't just one rogue decision. This is a systematic failure. A place designed to protect the public and uphold justice has instead become a breeding ground for further violence. People need to be held accountable here. From the warden who signed off on these visits to the policymakers who allow these killers to play house, someone needs to answer for why innocent people are being put at risk. Every level of this system needs to be reevaluated and scrutinized. It's time to stop pretending that good intentions are enough when consequences are deadly. The fallout from this disaster has been nothing short of brutal. Families are left shattered, they're demanding answers, and rightfully so. Imagine getting that phone call that your mother, your grandmother, dead in some place they were supposed to keep her safe. How did a man with no chance of parole get granted private family time? Why wasn't his past that was littered with cold blood executions considered? The state of California is drowning in a lot of backlash, and I think rightfully so. There's been calls for policy overhauls and demanding for someone to finally take accountability for this colossal failure. The prison experts are all lining up to say the same thing. This should have never happened. Conjugal visits were supposed to humanize inmates and give them a sense of connection, not turn into death traps for the people they claim to love. There's a tragic irony in trying to offer redemption to someone that probably never deserved it. When a visitor leaves in a body bag instead of a hug, it's time to throw the entire concept back on the drawing board. No one deserves to die because we're too focused on giving killers a love story behind bars. The system is broken when it bends over backwards to give convicted killers human connection while ignoring basic safety. Rehabilitation is important, and America's prisons and jails are overcrowded, and helping inmates change their lives can help improve society. But there's gotta be a line. People who commit the worst of crimes, the cold blood mass murderer, should not be given the same privileges as those working to earn a second chance. You can't blame the victims for trusting the system, but you can absolutely blame the system for allowing killers to play house. Letting murderers behind bars pretend that everything is normal is just setting up innocent people to die. So the big question is whether California and the other states will finally wake up. Maybe it's time to stop worrying about giving killers a love life and focus on protecting the people that can still do harm. Love is great, unless it's a death sentence. Let's stop playing Russian roulette with conjugal visits. Enough is enough. But let me know what you guys think about this story in the comments below. Thank you for taking time to watch this video, and I'll see you guys in the next video.